background. Myself and my wife are carers for my daughter Becca. She's 32 now, was diagnosed at the age of 13 with what they thought at the time was chronic fatigue syndrome. She had been ostensibly healthy and happy up to that point. When she kind of came home from school one day, thought she had a bit of a bug, and they said then chronic fatigue when she didn't get better. Then she carried on going downhill and was then diagnosed as having pervasive refusal syndrome because she was refusing to talk, walk, and eat, which led her to have her first inpatient treatment in a child psychiatric unit at the age of about 14, 15. She was when she went in there, was there for a couple of years. We had a short respite between the ages of 18 and 20 when she was well enough to go to, she left school at 13, but she was well enough to go to college for a couple of years, get some kind of background kind of qualifications, went to university, did one term at university, and was then diagnosed as anorexic after doing one term at university. Which then led to a kind of period in her 20s of in and out of inpatient stay, probably on a cycle of about once in every 18 months, 2 years, a cycle of being in inpatient care. We've been all around the country in different inpatient units for eating disorders. And it wasn't until she was 29 that she was identified as being autistic as a result of a stay in a unit in Chelmsford. But when she left the unit, that was all that we were left with. No one then told us how we should progress things. The word carer actually takes you to a place of imbalance, that I'm okay, you're not, therefore I've got to look after you. And in fact, one of the people I was working with in one of those sessions, she came up with the word advocate. And I think in many ways, that's a great word for what we've had to be over the last kind of 18 odd years. Multiple times having to battle with the system, which I'm sure you're well aware of the kind of battles we all have had with the system. But having to be that advocate for her, be that voice, we've always took the position that we would always go with whatever was suggested, but we would always want to challenge that or check that first. We wanted to kind of basically be able to say afterwards, whatever decision was made, that we could be able to account to Bex as to why we might have made those decisions or why we might be part of those decisions. Between this, myself and my wife, I imagine the percentage of marriages that break up through this are very high. We're still standing, although at times it's a challenge. We're still standing, but we bring very different perspectives to it, and I think that's helped. My wife is very much more empathetic and emotionally kind of driven. I'm more logic driven. That does create its own tensions because I'm the one who can communicate best, because in a sense that's how Bex most likes to kind of connect. That creates tensions with the three of us as he's got older in terms of imbalance in relationships, but that's definitely a strength. And my wife is tenacious and a battler. She won an NHS award while she was whilst my daughter was in this inpatient treatment in as a teenager, because we were seeing so many more parents coming into these places with no support. So she set up a support group for them and helped people at those kind of times. So that's definitely the strength we have between us. Probably the biggest things I learned, though, was reading a leadership book. It's still fairly in the early stages of this, and it talked in that book about what great leaders need. And it said one of the things they need is the ability to be lost with confidence. As leaders, you're often taking people into areas where you haven't been before, and there isn't a route map for exactly how to get here. So we don't know exactly how to solve this. Very much Peace Pathways on that journey. How do we solve this? Well, we don't know, but we know where we're trying to get to. But we need to be confident in our own abilities and the people around us that we can find a path. It might not always be pretty, but we will find a path. And I think the other kind of the attribute you have to have in this is resilience. We keep on thinking how much more can we take, and we're at the kind of bottom of it. we have no true sense of what the outcome might be for Bex, but I'm confident in what we've got and with the people around us that we can find a path.